Senator Van Hollen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome, Mr. Secretary. You'd agree that it's important for the American public to be able to trust what DHS says, right? And that it's important that the department put out factual information. You agree that that's important?
I think it's important for elected officials to do that.
I think it's very important for everybody. So I'm holding up a press release here, Mr. Secretary, dated January of this year. It's before your time. It says that a person named Julio Sosa Silas violently assaulted a DHS agent. I want to read the quote in here from former Secretary Noem. She said, quote, "What we saw last night in Minneapolis was an attempted murder of a federal law enforcement. Our officer was ambushed and attacked by 3 individuals who beat him with snow shovels and the handles of brooms. Fearing for his life, the officer fired a defensive shot," unquote. That's an untrue statement, isn't it, Mr. Secretary?
What we have been briefed on, yes.
Yeah. And it came to light because the city of Minneapolis had a camera system, and state authorities from Hennepin County have pursued the investigation and recently arrested this officer. Are you aware of that?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So this is part of a pattern we've seen, because I do want to turn to the case of Alex Preddy. And in that case, Secretary Noem said that he was engaged in an act of domestic terrorism. She said that it looked like Alex Preddy intended to, quote, inflict maximum damage and to kill law enforcement, unquote. That wasn't true either, was it?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the
That
statement.
wasn't a true statement either.
Of her statement?
Yeah.
I can't speak on her behalf, but it's not what I recall seeing.
You agree the facts don't support that statement?
Well, I didn't make the statement.
I didn't say you did. I asked you whether you understand that the facts don't support the statement.
The investigation would say that's probably not accurate.
Yeah, okay. So again, we know that because of the video. Secretary Noem also asserted that Renee Good was engaged in an act of domestic terrorism. So look, the reason I'm asking you this, Mr. Secretary, is I want to know if you're going to be willing to provide state investigators access to evidence they have requested in their ongoing investigations into the killings of Alex Preddy and Renee Good.
Sir, as you know, the FBI is set up to do the investigation on federal law officers, and we investigate it from the federal side as a federal action, not a state action.
But you're aware of the fact that the state has authority and jurisdiction as well, right, under federal case law?
Actually, under the authority, the federal prosecution stays within the federal government, and so the FBI is set up to do those investigations. And I do want to say something too. We arrest between
Mr. Secretary, I'm sorry, I have limited time.
But you said you accused there to be a pattern.
If the chair is going to permit additional questions,
I was answering what you said is a pattern.
Questions.
You made an accusation that it was
and I
a
meant,
pattern.
And Mr. Secretary, I went on. There was a pattern. The Secretary, Secretary Noem said the same thing.
But you said
all
there's
statements
a pattern,
regarding
not a pattern.
That's
so
a pattern. She said it with Renee Good too.
1,900 people a day. There is not a pattern of this.
Please, the reality
That's an exaggeration of words.
Words matter.
They do.
And I will tell you,
you of all people should know that words matter. And so when you say there's a pattern, there's not a pattern.
Oh, I would say 3 in a row is a pattern.
No, sir.
Secretary.
That's not a pattern. We arrest 1,900
people. Let's get out the dictionary.
Put
your semantics aside. The reality is this is a big problem.
There is no semantics behind this. A pattern of 3 people when we average 1,900 a day is not a pattern.
You've just acknowledged your predecessor made statements that were not factually accurate. I want to go. So it sounds like you're not willing to share evidence with the state authorities who are trying to get to the bottom of this. And I will just say, Mr. Secretary, that given the statements that came out of this administration, including the White House, it is hard to trust this administration to do an independent investigation. That's why it's important.
But yet you trust the last administration?
I didn't. I'm talking about giving it to the authorities of Minnesota.
I'm just saying, calling Apple what an apple is, or calling orange
I want
what
to
an
ask
orange is.
you.
Don't sit there and start picking one administration to believe in another administration not to believe.
Mr. Secretary, just please calm down. I'm going to ask you about Kilmore Abrego Garcia. Are you aware of the fact that in that case, he has agreed to be removed to Costa Rica and that Costa Rica has agreed to accept them?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So I'd like you to look into this, because essentially what the administration did was say to him when he was returned to the United States after being wrongfully deported to El Salvador, and the administration admitted it, wrongfully deported him, After he was turned, they leveled new criminal charges against him, and they said to him, if you plead guilty to these criminal charges, we'll send you to Costa Rica, and if you don't, we'll send you to Liberia. Well, he said, I'm not going to plead guilty to these charges, and it turns out that just a short time ago, a federal judge determined that the administration had engaged in a vindictive prosecution against him. And so my question now is, will you, the administration, agree to have him removed to Costa Rica rather than engaging in punishing him for pursuing his constitutional rights? That's the question. If you don't have full information here, Mr. Secretary, I understand.
Well, my question is the gentleman here in this country legally?
Secretary, the time is expired.
The
but if
person
you can
was
answer his
illegally
question.
removed to El Salvador, and this administration has
He is
admitted
still
that.
in this country illegally.
This is the point is he has said he will be removed to Costa Rica, and Costa Rica has accepted that. The point, Mr. Secretary, is
Great. If he's willing
is
to
the
do that, we'll have to
administration.
send him.
The point is that they're engaged in what a judge already found to be an vindictive prosecution, and now they're trying to leverage all this to try to get him to go to Liberia instead of Costa Rica. It's a gross abuse of process.
Mr. Secretary,
Anybody looking at this can see that.
The
Mr.
senator's time is
Secretary.
expired.
I'm good.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Secretary, we're going to go ahead and move into another. We have Senator Haggerty that's on his way. I can't tell you how pleased I am that the Coast Guard has chosen to establish a enlisted leadership training center in Birmingham, Alabama. I certainly look forward to being there later this week with Admiral Lundy and hopefully others. And I understand that the Coast Guard's training centers are at max capacity, the ones that we currently have. So, Mr. Secretary, how will the creation of the training center at Birmingham Southern allow the Coast Guard to deliver world-class training support to ensure the continuous deployment of mission-ready personnel to the fleet?
Thank you for asking the question. Our biggest asset we have throughout DHS, including the Coast Guard, is our personnel. And everyone want to do their job and do it the best possible way. But it takes tremendous amount of training. Since the Coast Guard is small compared to the other branches, what you'll see is most individuals that are within the Coast Guard are cross-trained, sometimes between 15 or 20 separate jobs. And they're expected to be on a cutter one day and be in an office as a mill aide the next. And they happily do it. And that's why the retention is so high.